Alright, hi guys, my name is Matt, and in the summer 2011 with my LEAP class, which was my freshman seminar, I took a tour of a Chesapeake Energy natural gas drilling site. That's where I came up with the idea to do the environmental impacts of the Marcellus Shale. So, quick background, this is straight from our fuels class. You have your decomposition of organic matter into form kerogens. Kerogens are type 1 and type 2, form natural gas and oil. Type 1 is algal and type 2 is liptinic. These two come from increasing heat and pressure, and the different types of conventions of oil and natural gas that they form are shown over here. You have your gas-rich oil shale with your link down to the very bottom. You have your horizontal drill right here, which is where fracking comes into play. Where is the Marcellus Shale? It spreads from West Virginia all the way up to New York. The main part of it is in PA, which is why it's a big topic right now, hot topic. There's an estimated 400 trillion cubic feet in this reservoir. This could be the answer to the United States energy crisis, so to say. In the 20s or in the 2000s, there was a big energy crisis happening, and we've started to migrate out of it, but it's still around. Economic glimpse of what the Marcellus Shale could do for PA. It could provide 280,000 jobs, and from one natural gas drilling site, there could be a revenue of about $4 million, which would be pumped back into the economy. Alright, so back to this fracking topic, which is what everybody wants to talk about and around natural gas. So what fracking is when they drill down, they actually start to bend the drill into a horizontal. From this horizontal, they send down explosions, which will blow up the shale and actually crack it. Now, once it's cracked, they'll put fracturing fluid down in there, and the fracturing fluid will keep the shale open so the natural gas can seep out and up into the well. How they keep this open with this fracturing fluid is it generally contains like little beads, which are called proppants, and from that they extract the gas. Now, everybody says fracking causes my sink to light on fire, which is a complete lie. If you look at the actual depths of where they're fracking and where the water table is, it's not even relevant. So how gas gets into the drinking water is by the seal of the well, which is shown right here. You have your open pipe casing, and then around that they do different layers of concrete and more piping. So what happens is that generally the concrete isn't done decently or up to standards, and that's how the gas leaks out and into your drinking water, which is why everything lights on fire. So that's where that comes from. But another environmental issue is site contamination. I mentioned the fracking fluid earlier, and during the drilling process, which actually this is a picture of a drilling rig right here. During the drilling process, they send synthetic mud down through and pulls out the shale while they're drilling. The shale ends up being somewhat radioactive, and it needs to be disposed of properly, which is all monitored by the DEP and stuff like that. And the synthetic mud, of course, if the shale is radioactive, the synthetic mud is going to be somewhat. So usually the synthetic mud stays on site. It's generally recycled and reused, to keep the drilling process going. Site contamination also includes rainwater. Any type of fluid that comes in contact with the site, they try to keep on site. They do this by, if you look at the outline right here, it's a whole pad. It's usually about 300 to 400 or 300 by 400 feet. And at the site I was at, they were using rhino liner. So they try to keep it a non-permeable surface so that the water cannot seep through. And then what they do, if there is a buildup of the fluid, they truck it out and they process it and get it back to decent water. Water from drilling. This is dealing with the synthetic mud once again. They need the water to mix with their synthetic stuff, send down. The water generally comes from the local watersheds, the streams, the rivers, The one I was at, they actually used the Susquehanna watershed, which during drought season, which we really don't have an extreme drought season, but they have to monitor so that they do not dry up the creeks and rivers and stuff like that, which could harm the environment and have all sorts of effects. If it is during a drought and they do get cut off from the water supply, they have to truck in the supply, which is very expensive and it's very time consuming because you're always waiting on water to get to the site. Some other issues surrounding natural gas. If we look at it, you have your land issue problem, which generally during drilling it takes up about 3 to 5 acres, and that is your roadway, your construction site, and generally the workers need to live on the site because they're 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. During production, it's only 1.5. There's not so much involved with production. Basically, they just put a cap on it and let it produce. Another environmental issue, like I mentioned, the roadway in the construction site. Not only do they have to develop that to the site, but generally deterioration is an issue of all the trucking, of the construction, of the water, of everything involved. So those need to be replaced. They have to do a high quality of roadway too, or else there'd be a lot of community issues. I mean, PennDOT standards aren't that high, but hey. Another issue is the habitats and the ecosystems for the animals. Like I mentioned with the whole water supply and stuff like that, when we're using land, we're destroying habitats. So there's a big issue. Another topic that I'm not going to get into because I want to keep it under 5 minutes is the pipeline infrastructure. We're going to need something to get it out and everything like that, and then transport it and whatnot. Emissions, general emissions come from the construction of the site, and also while they're recycling the synthetic mud, machines that do that are all run on diesel. And then of course trucking in the water supply, that's just general stuff. I mean, I put it in there figuring you guys knew it, but hey. And a reason why this is a big topic is because right now a lot of coal power plants are switching to natural gas. Generally it's because natural gas does not have any sulfur dioxide emissions. It has a little bit, but it's not that important. It's only 0.1 pounds per megawatt hour, and compared to coal and carbon dioxide and also nitrogen oxides are very low compared to coal. That's why it's a big issue. A lot of power plants are switching, such as the ones here at Penn State. But my sources were all listed along. If you guys have any more questions, you can look them up or you can contact me. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and just appreciate your time, guys. Thank you.